Hello and welcome. Today we're diving into something really fascinating. It's a model for understanding and, well, managing all those powerful forces inside of us, desire, passion, all those urges. We're going to look at a pretty unique framework that treats our inner world almost like an energy system. And believe it or not, it even has its own set of equations.
So, let's start with a big one. It's a question we all have to ask ourselves at some point, right? Do you control your passions, or do they control you? How do we even begin to handle these incredibly powerful internal drives? Do we just try to lock them away and hope for the best? Or is there a way to live with them, harmoniously? This explainer offers a really structured way to think about that exact challenge. Okay, here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at the two main paths we can take when dealing with our desires. Then, we're going to dive into two opposing energy flows, the upward flow of the mind and the downward flow of mood. After that, we'll see how they all come together in one single unified equation. And finally, we'll talk about what all this means for you, for finding your own inner balance. So let's get right into it. It really starts with this core choice that we all have to make when it comes to our powerful internal passions. According to our source material, it pretty much boils down to two very distinct approaches.
So on one side, you've got suppression. The source material has a term for this, WCOM, which basically means suppressed desire. The best way to think about this is like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. I mean, it takes constant, rigid control, right? And eventually, all that energy is probably going to burst out when you least expect it, and that can lead to some serious psychological issues. But then, on the other side, you have regulated passion. Now, this isn't about just letting the beach ball fly away wherever it wants. No, it's about learning how to ride the waves with it. It's the path to balance.
Okay, so if balance is the goal, how in the world do we get there? How do we find that healthy sense of control? Well, this framework introduces our very first core concept, an upward flow of energy that's all about the mind.
This is what's called the mind flow. The source calls it the first single set of energy. You can think of it as the primary system that brings discipline and structure to your inner world. Its main job? To manage all those powerful desires and urges we all have, and to direct them in a really constructive upward motion.
And, you guessed it, this system is represented by a pretty simple equation, E equals O plus IA. Let's break that down for a second. Now, the source doesn't define every single variable like it's a math textbook, but we can think of it like this. E is the total energy of your system. O could be your baseline, your origin point. And IA, well, that's the intentional action or the applied intelligence that you use to direct all that energy. So really, this controller equation is the formula that describes the energy of structure and discipline inside all of us.
So this mind flow is pictured as energy moving upward through what the source calls chakra biovortex streams. Just imagine these as internal channels for your life force. By channeling these really potent drives like ambition or desire, this upward flow is what gives us discipline and structure. It helps us deal with all those external pressures, things related to our status, class and rank. It's a brilliant way to think about inner management. It's not about stopping the energy, it's about directing it.
But here's the thing. Pure control can be, well, brittle. It needs a counterpart to stay flexible and healthy. And that brings us to its complementary opposite, the downward flow of mood. This is all about the energy of regulation.
And this is the mood flow. It's described as the second set of energy. So if mind flow is all about control from the top down, mood flow is about healthy expression from the inside out. Its job isn't to suppress passion, but to regulate it, to allow it to flow safely in a downward expressive motion.
And of course, it has its own equation. We can call this one the regulator equation. E of A equals A plus IA. So here you could think of E of A as the energy of action or expression. By connecting it back to A, action, and IA, intentional action, this equation shows that regulation isn't just random, it's a guided release. This is the essential release valve that the controller needs so it doesn't build up way too much pressure.
This downward flow is what lets our passion show up in healthy ways. The source calls these the 9 moods, or Mauj. And that's really just the rich spectrum of human emotion, everything from joy to sadness. And instead of being driven by individual ambition, this flow helps us navigate social pressures from our community and our peer groups. It's the system that allows for real connection and helps us avoid the kind of isolation that can come from being too rigid and self-controlled. So we have these two opposing forces, right? Upward control and downward regulation. But the real magic, The real genius of this system happens when you bring them together into one elegant, unified whole.
What's so cool about this is how it visually shows the integration. You start with the controller equation, the formula for discipline, then you take the expression for the regulator, that's the mood flow, and you literally embed it right inside the controller. The result is this unified equation. And it's such a powerful symbol, isn't it? It shows that true balance isn't about control or regulation, it's about having healthy regulation within a structure of mindful control.
And the source material is crystal clear about why this is so incredibly important. It says that oppressing our moods, our ability to express our emotions, can lead to, and I'm quoting here, fatal psychiatry problems. That's why the mood flow, the regulator part, is given the highest priority. This tells us that finding this balance isn't just a nice-to-have idea, it's absolutely essential for our well-being.
Okay, so let's bring this all home. What's the point of all this? What's the ultimate goal of understanding these energy flows, and why does finding this balance truly matter in our everyday lives? So here's the crucial point. A balanced system isn't about getting rid of our passions. Not at all. It's about channeling them wisely. It allows you to find a real harmony between your personal discipline and your need for social connection. And when you get down to it, this whole framework is designed to help you avoid that immense psychological stress that comes from pure suppression, and instead create a stable, resilient inner state that's guided by the wisdom of both your controlling mind.
And that really brings us to the end. What we've looked at today is a powerful new language for our inner world. So I'll just leave you with this to think about. As you go about your day today, take a second to check in with yourself. Which direction is your energy flowing? Is it mostly upward in a state of control? Is it flowing downward in expression? Or have you found that sweet spot, that harmonious balance right in the middle?